With all the new technology and the abundance of information on the web, you would think that buying or selling or understanding the real estate market would be easier than ever. But ask yourself one question. Now that you've done your homework and you think you know what's going on, what do you do next? Good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock on Tuesday, and that means that we at Fournier Fournier do our weekly blog. So welcome. We were off last week because we were on vacation. Had a great time, but we're back at it. We do this at 10 o'clock every Tuesday, and what we do is we discuss exactly what I said on the beach. We discuss what do you do next. There's a lot of information on the web, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of myths, and so we try to wade through that in this particular blog. I don't get into market research and dividing up, different economic opportunities as far as real estate goes on this broadcast, because that's all the kind of stuff you can find on the web ad infinitum. What we get into here in this particular blog are the specific mechanics of your transaction or your search. And that's the real crux of the reason that we started this blog, is we wanted to give you tips, some real inside tips, stuff that you don't normally find, and we're going to do that today with a very interesting subject, and that is backup offers. Before I do, let me introduce myself. I'm Stewart Fournier, an 18-year veteran of the real estate here in Southern California. My wife and I, Randy, we practice. We both have a combined practice period in time of over 35 years. We've dealt with all aspects of real estate. We've dealt with new builds, foreclosures, short sales, 1031 exchanges, commercial. We've done just about every type of real estate transaction related to residential real estate that you can imagine. We've done income property as well. We're very well versed. We've run into many, many situations over the years, and that's the reason we started this blog. We wanted to share our experiences with you, and in turn, maybe give you some tips that'll help you along the way in your goal to purchase a home. And today we're going to talk about something that actually I've been wanting to talk about for weeks, but I had to talk about a lot of the basics up to this point to have this particular blog make a lot of sense, and that is what we call backup offers. Now, the reason I wanted to, and by the way, this is Facebook Live. If you have any questions and you happen to be catching us, please feel free to ask in the comments section, and I will see them on the screen, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be related to today's subject. You can ask me any questions, and I'm happy to answer. If for any reason you're seeing this taped, which majority of you are, please feel free to also comment in the comments section, and I will ask those or answer those questions as well. So let's get started. Let's talk about backup offers. Now, one of the most frustrating things for buyers is to see a multiple bid situation where there's 5 or 10 people that are bidding for the same house, and you just don't want to get involved, and you're asking yourself, is there an alternative to this process? Now, we talked about multiple bids, and in my opinion, as we spoke of before, you shouldn't be that afraid of multiple bids. But if you are and you just don't want to be involved, your next best step is to make a backup offer. And I'm going to talk about 4 specific things that makes that very attractive. Now, backup offers can also be made not just in a multiple bid situation, but backup offers can be made on any house that's already in escrow. So, for example, if your particular area has a very low inventory situation and you just can't find a house, but you see, 1 or 2 or even more that are in escrow, and you would have liked to have had an opportunity to get that house, guess what? There is a potential opportunity to do that with a backup offer. Now, with a backup offer, you're going for a house that is already under contract, already in escrow. However, the house is not actually sold. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that if a house is in escrow and it hasn't completed its sale, it's still open for the ability for someone to make a backup offer. Now, you can't change or go in and take over someone's sale. That's not going to happen. But what you can do is be the person on the outside waiting for a possible opportunity if in fact that particular escrow falls out. That is to say that there is a disagreement between the buyer and the seller at the time, and they decide that they don't want to move forward. You as a backup offer are in a very, very good position to actually get a chance to buy that house as well. Now let me talk about the specifics. Okay, let's talk about what actually happens when the process by which you're offering a backup offer. Number one, the house is already in escrow, so you can't change the ability for you cannot change that situation. However, what you're doing when you provide a backup offer to the seller is you say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand you're in escrow, but if for any reason that particular house that you're in escrow, that those particular people that you're in escrow with, and you don't see eye to eye, and you decide that you're not going to move forward with the sale, I would like to be considered as a backup offer. And here are the advantages. There's basically four advantages for a backup, four main advantages for a backup offer from a buyer's point of view. Now, the first is the price. Now, even though the price has already been decided through a sale that's already happened, you can offer whatever price you want. In other words, we kind of start from scratch with your offer despite what the house has already been sold for. Now, the biggest advantage in a backup offer situation when you're going to go ahead and offer a price is that there's a good chance the seller and the agent who've already gone into escrow have a pretty good idea, or they have the exact price of what that first position was. In other words, what it's in for escrow now. So let's say, for example, the house sold for $800,000, and the seller doesn't have to disclose that to you, but the seller probably has gone through a great deal of pain and exercise with offers and counteroffers, and certainly in a multiple bid situation, they've probably reviewed so many different offers that they're tired. So they're not going to be as they're not going to hold back as much as they would in a regular situation about the price. They'll probably be a little more revealing about what the house actually sold for, because they've already gone through the pains of deciding what they feel that price should be. So there's a good chance that the seller and or the agent is going to reveal at least pretty close to what the price of the house went for, and therefore your making of an offer respective of the price is probably going to be less painful, and you're going to be pretty close to knowing what the house sold for. Otherwise, they wouldn't even consider taking your backup offer. So if you make a backup offer that's way lower than they've already sold, it only stands to reason that they're probably not going to accept your offer. But if you make an offer that's pretty close to what the actual price of the house sold for, there is a good chance that the sellers will say, you know what, we'll take that as a backup offer, simply because we don't want to go through the whole process again if for any reason the deal that we're working with now falls through. Now, one of the reasons we stress that this is not a bad situation for buyers is that about 1 out of 4, that's a rough estimate, but about 1 out of 4 escrows actually do fall out. Now, as you can see, in my previous broadcast, I've talked about all the ways that that can happen, and you know, in fact, it does happen. So there's a good chance that if, for example, you put backup offers on, say, 2 or 3 houses that are already in escrow, there's a good chance that one of those might fall through and lay right in your lap. So let's get on to step number, the second reason that, and this is almost the most important reason in my opinion, the second reason that it's a really good idea to provide a backup offer. Now, the second reason is that if the seller agrees that he's going to accept your backup offer, he becomes contractually obligated to you to go to you if the first house falls out of escrow. In other words, there's no negotiation after the fact. What happens is you make a formal backup offer that's very similar to an original offer, and if in fact that particular house falls out of escrow, in other words, the buyer and the seller don't see eye to eye and they agree to go their separate ways, you as the backup offer are automatically in escrow as soon as they cancel their escrow. So there's no negotiation, you've already agreed to the terms, and you're moving forward. Now, the best part of that is, losing my point here. The best part of that is that, again, you don't have to renegotiate the terms. The terms are set as they were, and you can move forward. And you are now in escrow, and nobody else can no one else can come in and just assume that your transaction. In other words, that you're totally protected. Okay. The third reason this is a good idea is that if a house actually falls out of escrow, there's obviously some reasons that it fell out, and the seller's obligated to disclose to you specifically all the reasons that it fell out. And also, there's a good chance that it fell out because of a disclosure issue or an inspection issue or issues that need to be and have to be contractually provided to you so that you know exactly why it fell out. And you might even be able to access what's already happened in the transaction, respective of the disclosures, the inspections, or whatever other progress has already taken place. So there may be a lot of pain and suffering that's already happened, and you won't have to assume that because the seller's already been through it. They have to describe it to you, and then you can work that out. So there's a lot less emotion involved there, because at that point, remember, as I said before, in California and in most states, there's an awful lot of protection that you get once you agree or you find fault with a particular disclosure, that you can now get out of the deal. And so that makes it even doubly protective. So that's another advantage. And then the fourth advantage, and this is a really exciting advantage, is that, you know what, you can make as many backup offers as you want because you're not qualifying for the loan yet, because you're not actually in escrow with a particular house. So as a result, you can make as many backup offers as you want, and the kicker is that you don't have to put a deposit down. In other words, since you're not really in escrow, there's no need for you to put a deposit down on your backup offer. So you can make as many backup offers as you want without exchanging any money whatsoever. Now, the reason for that, let me stress again, the reason for that is that you're not actually in contract. I'm sorry, you are in contract. However, you're not actually in escrow. And in escrow is the time that you're revealing all your loan information and revealing all the steps that you need to actually put forth in order to make a close. So since you're not in that process, there's no need for a deposit. Now, once you actually get the house as a result of the fact that the first deal fell through and you're automatically in escrow, you do need to put a deposit down at that point, and it's usually required within 3 days of the notification that the first deal fell through and now you're the official backup position. You're no longer in backup position, you are actually in escrow. And again, as I said, that's extremely seamless. You automatically get the house. Now there's another reason, there's a fifth reason that's a really good situation, because the fifth reason is, even though the seller is now obligated to go into escrow with you, guess what? At that point, you can actually pull out and decide that you don't want the deal anymore. So even though seamlessly, after the first escrow falls out, and then you are automatically in escrow with that particular house, you still have the choice at that point as to whether you want the house. And actually, sellers would appreciate at that point if you decide, for example, this is not the house that you want. They're going to want to know as soon as possible. So it's very easy to cancel that particular contract. So let me go over those 4 reasons real quickly, or 5 reasons. Number 1, the price. Number 2, the fact that you're locked in. Number 3, the disclosures. Number 4, no deposit. And number 5, you can actually just decline even though you're actually in escrow. So there's some real advantages to putting in backup offers. There's a lot less stress involved. There's a lot more information that's given to you. There's so many good aspects of that. And again, you don't have to put a deposit down, and you can actually go and put as many backup offers as you want. So a real solution to multiple bids if you don't want to be involved, and also low inventory. So that's my tip of this week. It's if you'd like to discuss that, or you find yourself in a situation right now where you're searching for property and it's becoming very frustrating, and you'd like to get more information about how to make a backup offer, please give us a call. We'll be happy to provide that information for you and help you along the way. It's really a really great tool and situation that you could become involved in. Okay, so that's it for this week. Again, we do this every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. No matter where you are in the country, we're happy to give information, we have a fantastic network of realtors all across the nation if we can't help you locally here in Los Angeles. And we'd be happy to work with you even though we've referred it out, answer any questions that you have, and help you along in this process. One thing before we go off the air, I do want to mention that we do have an app called the Fournier app, which we're going to put right on the comments section, that allows you to take a picture right from your phone, right from your cell phone, of any house in America, any house in the country, and all the information about that particular home will come right on your cell phone. The price of the house, the last time it was sold, whether it's on an open house. It doesn't have to be for sale. It'll still give you that information. But if it is listed, it'll give you all the information about the listing itself. It'll also tell you about values in the neighborhood. It'll tell you about the values of the house just next door to the house that you just took a picture of. It's an incredible, incredible app, and we suggest that all you have to do is click below us in the comments section. You'll get a request for your email. We'll send the app to you, and you're all hooked up. Now, one of the best advantages of that app is go ahead and take a picture today of any house, and if you have any questions about that house, you can actually speak to Randy or I right on your cell phone directly. The app is real time, and the ability for you to talk to us is real time. If you ask us a question about any particular snapshot of a house that you've taken, we'll be able to see it right on your phone, and we can talk directly about that particular home. Okay, so we hope you enjoy the app. I hope you join us again next Tuesday at 10 a.m. where we'll talk some more about some great tips for real estate. It's great to be back. We had a great vacation up in Tahoe. We really enjoyed ourselves. We were there for about a week and had a wonderful time. And as you can see, I have a little bit of a tan line on my face. I apologize for that, but the lighting in our office here is limited, so we hope you understand. Anyway, see you next Tuesday, everyone, 10 o'clock. Take care.